I asked Kelly if I could go through it for anyone. Hello! Welcome! Very few people wanted to risk it. There might be door prizes under the seats in the front row, I guess. My name is Jay, and I'm welcoming you to the CSz Portland Stand Up Student Showcase. A little bit of orientation. You may have visited our concession stand. It'll be available all evening, and the friends there will be very happy to help sell you things to your delight. There's recycling and garbage available this way. There's restrooms there and down the hall. Please make use of those at the end of the night as appropriate, or throughout the evening as you need. Now, a couple things. This is, as I said, a student stand-up showcase, which means please be supportive. I mean, for the students, but thank you. I appreciate the thought. Be polite, applaud, cheer as appropriate. If you absolutely cannot resist heckling, save that for Carl's set, where he will be able to eviscerate you as you probably deserve. Secondly, one of the things about Carl's classes that's been very impressive is how much everyone roots for and supports each other. So in that spirit, we ask that you, if possible, also support all the students and don't just, bail as soon as your friend's done with their set. So if you can stay, we appreciate it. Understand people might have babysitting issues, things like that. Leave quietly, but if you can stay, we certainly appreciate it. And now to introduce the teacher tonight, over 40 years of incredible comedy.
Actually 43, but thank you.
That fits within the definition of over.
Yes, it does.
I didn't say exactly.
40 years of great comedy and 3 of mediocre comedy.
Yes.
Which was your joke.
It was, yes. I saw how quickly you stole that, yeah.
But please support me, because we're supporting everyone.
Yes, absolutely. Media host, those of you that remember Air America Radio, yeah. Carl was part of that. Late night appearances, and was on this stage as recently as Friday.
Yeah, it was.
Let's welcome Carl Wolfson.
Keep it on for Jay. Keep it on for Jay. Come on, yeah.
Not a student.
You're not. You're a pro. You really are. How are you tonight? Good? Sounds good. Thanks for coming out, supporting all the students. I know it's a tough time to come inside with this incredible weather, right? Oh my God. Anyone from out of state or outside Portland came in for the Rose Festival? Anybody? Okay, looking around like we're going to check IDs or something. This is not Ron DeSantis' Florida, please. Just relax. It's okay. Happy Rose Festival. Anyone watch the Rose Parade? Okay, you guys have been nowhere, right? I've asked 2 questions and it's like, I'm just supporting the comics. I didn't come here for a Q&A. I really have no idea what these questions are. I don't even understand English. I have no one saw the Rose Parade? No. You don't give a shit about the Rose Parade, do you? I watched for a couple minutes, It was kind of nice. You see all the floats were covered in flowers. Did you see the Republican float though? No. Why am I surprised that you answered no to that? We're 3 for 3, aren't we, Jay? No, you can tell the Republican float because all the other floats had roses, and the Republican float just had like torn up bits of the Constitution all over it. Yeah, halfway through the parade, they pulled it over and indicted it. It's very exciting. So, and happy Pride. Okay. Now I got the audience. Okay. Someone said to me today, do Republicans celebrate Pride? So I said, well, I think the closest they have to Pride is maybe General Lee's victory at the Battle of Bull Run. I think that would be, thanks for getting that, okay. It's a Civil War reference, thanks for playing. I can see everyone's my age here, like I wasn't around during the Civil War. But, you know, I suffer because I had a Republican mother, and how many people are with me on that? It's so sad. My friend Ann is here, longtime listener. Give Ann a round. She came all the way up from Selwood. Well, I was down there with Ann today. My husband's up in Seattle. I spent the day with Ann down in Selwood, and she's a longtime listener at radio. And you had a Republican mother as well? Yep. How long were you in therapy? Were you in therapy a while?
I should have been.
You should have been, yeah. When I came out to my mother in the 90s, she goes, well, we didn't have homosexuals in the 1950s. So, well, somebody put the fins on those Cadillacs. Somebody did those beehive hairdos, come on. We have a friend, Jenny, who's lesbian, also had a Republican, very conservative Republican mother, and she had a similar experience. She said she came out to her mother as a lesbian, and her mother goes, what's next, Jenny? Heroin? Lesbianism, the gateway drug. Okay. My mother and I argued politics from when I was in high school. She'd always tell me, she goes, it's so easy to be a liberal in Portland. So easy to be a liberal in Portland. It's easy to be a fascist in Florida, all right? You know, it's not easy being a liberal in Portland, is it? I'll tell you my own personal experience. As Jay mentioned, I was on radio, KPOJ for 6 years, X-Ray for 4, progressive radio. And one of the worst days of my life, this is why it's not easy to be a liberal in Portland. We were on KPOJ, I hosted the morning show for 6 years, first 6 years, and Clear Channel flipped the format after the 2012 election, and I was out of a job. They flipped it from politics to sports, and it was like truly the worst day of my life, because it was a dream job for me. I loved being on radio. It was everything I wanted to do in my career. And except those 3 mediocre years of comedy. And so I'm just stunned. I'm driving home, depressed. I don't know what I'm going to tell Gary. It's just like, oh God. And I just drove home, drove into the garage, pulled down the garage door, closed the garage door, kept the car running, thought I'm just going to end it. And after about 2 minutes, I realized I have an electric car. So, not easy being liberal in Portland. All right, thank you for getting that one. Okay, so we have a wonderful show tonight. We have 7 outstanding performers, and I have to tell you these. I've taught 2 classes in the fall, 2 in the winter, 2 in the spring. I got 2 in the summer, and it's just joyous for me. Gary gets me out of the house on Mondays and Thursdays to come home happy. And the reason I come home happy are my students. They have really worked really hard telling their truth on stage. They're extremely funny. I know you're going to enjoy them. I personally have an affection for our first comedian because he's from a place where I grew up. You'll know immediately where he's from. Please welcome Bill DiStefano, ladies and gentlemen. Bill DiStefano. Billy! Thank you, everyone.
Appreciate y'all coming out. My name's Bill. I'm an accountant, so you know I'm funny. I grew up in New Jersey, Cleveland of States. I don't know why New Jersey gets such a bad rap, but I got a feeling it's because of that show. You know, the Jersey Shore. Yeah, it's a show about New Jersey, the shore, and not one cast member is from New Jersey or the shore. This is quality programming. Let me tell you about New Jersey. Number 1, it's primarily Italian, so you're going to eat well. It's run by the mobs. Everything's fucked up and under construction. And The Sopranos is true. In fact, we consider it a documentary. Now, I grew up during the Soprano era. And I have to tell you, one of the funniest things about the mob are their freaking nicknames. They don't make sense. And the only reason they don't make sense is because with these people, everything has to be a secret. Everything. I'll give you an example. They go to name our university. It was originally Queens College. Now, I don't know why. They go to rename it, and they're like, oh, New Jersey State. Mom's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Don't call it New Jersey. Call it Rutgers. Don't ever use your real name. And that goes on to their guys. We had a bookie. His name was Nicky the Nose. He had a big chin. Then we had a hitman who was a vegetarian. Yeah, they called him Meat. I liked my nickname. They called me Billy Bag of Donuts. And the reason they did is, just a little background on me. When I was in high school, I unfortunately lost both my parents and ended up having to work for certain Italian men in the garbage industry. The first job I got was with collections. Now, all the other collectors, they're so stereotypical. They're using a brown bag. No grease stain. There's the first clue to a cop. So I used Dunkin' Donut bags with a little window. Everyone's like, why the fuck would you use a bag with a window? I'd say, because I don't have meat up here, okay? Anybody who knows, if you collect money, the most I ever had to collect at one time is like 20 grand, right? So that's only about that big, if it's, even if it's 20s, right? Wrap it in a towel, bottom of the bag, put all the boss's favorite donuts on top, walk in, even if you get tagged by a cop. And he comes over, you open the bag, hey, you want a donut? He doesn't think there's fucking money at the bottom. So you roll it up, you go in, you see the boss, you put it down, he gets money and food. Do you know who's getting promoted first? Yeah, and believe me, when you get promoted with mobsters, it's fun, like me. I got promoted from collector to strip club manager. I gotta tell you, they first assigned me to this club down in San Diego. I'm like, why are you sending me there? He goes, because the girls are trying to unionize. What? Yeah, strippers tried to unionize. Hand to God, look it up, 1996. There was a strip club in San Diego. I was one of the managers, and I used to have to deal with all these people picketing. Right? You know what it's like to see a bunch of strippers in heels and like these tutus? And they're picketing with signs going, fair treatment, fair treatment. I'm like, you don't fucking do anything. And I knew that when I came up here and had to run in that club, and I saw your dancers. Holy shit. Your people work. I remember coming up, now this, honest to God, San Diego dancer, here's a pole. Pay me. What? I come up here, I'm sitting down with the owners of this club, and goes, yeah, the girls are out there, let's go watch. And I'm watching this girl, she looked like Bing, what was that, Ricochet Rabbit. Bing, 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 she goes from the top, let's go, and goes, boom! I'm like, dude, do we have fucking insurance for this shit? They didn't do this in San Diego, so don't look at me like I shouldn't be surprised. I'm lucky I got a wiggle out of them down there. That's the difference just between you and San Diego. The difference between you and Jersey. Okay, not strip clubs, I'm not going there. Yeah. The difference really is density, because I know you don't understand, but you're like, why do these people behave that way? Well, it's density. And I'm not talking about our skull. I'm talking about people. People don't realize in New Jersey, you are about 1,200 people per square mile. Right? Yeah. Do you know what you are? 40. 40. Do you know how nice you can be when there's only 40 people in the room? That's why we're a little bit aggressive. We exaggerate a bit. Because we have to. We got 1,000 people to compete with. You have, what, 39? Okay, I was a late bloomer. I didn't start smoking pot till I was 40. One thing I noticed, though, being 40 and smoking pot, you really act odd to people. I had an argument with a full-grown adult about if bugs have personality. Guess who was stoned? Me or them? I also learned marijuana makes me nicer. I don't know why they wouldn't let the mob just smoke the hell out of themselves. The other thing it does is make you gain weight. So I found out that, well, I had sleep apnea after my neighbor filed a noise complaint. So I had to go to the doctor to get this figured out. Of course, sleep apnea, you're gonna have a little bit of weight on you, right? I had a lot of weight on me. It was those bag of donuts. So anyway, I go to the doctor, she gets me off the scale. Nothing gets you more nervous if you first step off the scale and the doctor just stops, looks you dead in your eye and goes, I'm scheduling you for a mammogram. What? What the fuck is that? Your boobs. I'm having your boobs checked. Okay, ladies, I have a question. For you guys who don't know, this is how they do a mammogram. I was lucky to find out. You go in and there's these like, they look like jelly things that you're gonna put your boob in. And yeah, it's not fucking jelly, it's hard plastic. And they crank it down on your boob until you cry. And all I thought was, can they pop a nipple? I'm just picturing this thing go. So anyway, I came out okay, I didn't have the one other thing about the mob that, you know, the nickname thing, everybody has them, but not just everybody. Everything has a nickname, and I could prove it. Every woman in here has a nickname for her boobs. Every man has a nickname for his pee. That didn't go over big. You guys aren't big on the pee-pee and the boobs, are you? Okay, well, I'm going to end it there. I appreciate you. I appreciate it. And Carl, do you want me to announce my belief?
Yeah, thank you, Bill.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it.
Bill Stefano, ladies and gentlemen. I think by the end of the evening they'll appreciate a good dick joke. I really do. Keep it going for Bill, ladies and gentlemen. Job. I grew up in Philadelphia. Anyone from the East Coast? I should ask. Yeah. Oh, because I heard somewhere. Oh, Alex, who's going to be on? Alex Preve, one of my students. Where are you from, Alex?
I spent some time in Philly too.
Some time in Philly.
Yeah.
Yes. Did you like it there?
Yeah.
It's a great city. If you go to, who's been to Philadelphia? Oh, lots of you. Have you taken the walking tour? Those of you who go again and take the walking tour, I'll give you a little hint, because everyone, you know, the walking tours of city, groups of 12, whatever. Every tour guide in Philadelphia does this, so you'll be the wiser when you go there. You'll do the Independence Hall, the Liberty Bell, and all the stuff, and they'll end up near the waterfront, which is very beautiful, and they'll show you the Benjamin Franklin Bridge, and they'll say, this is, when it was opened in 1926 for the American Sesquicentennial, at that time was the longest suspension bridge in the world. It's an engineering marvel. They'll go through all this stuff, and then they'll say to you, but can you identify the one flaw in the Benjamin Franklin Bridge? Everybody guesses engineering stats, all this, and the guide will say, no, the flaw is the bridge goes to New Jersey. Right, Billy? Oh, man. Okay, you guys ready for more comedy? What did you do in Philly, by the way, Alex? Were you a student there?
Yeah, with the Drexel.
You went to Drexel. Oh, yeah, my brother-in-law taught at Drexel. What was your major?
Library science.
Okay, so now he's a comic. I was a philosophy major for a little while. I did my entire first term paper on, is it possible for a cat to be sick as a dog? There's no right answer, so you get an A. It doesn't really matter. My husband and I we were thinking about, we're definitely going to get a cat in the fall. Our 2 cats passed away last year, and but Gary wants a dog and a cat. So we're going through this whole debate. Does anyone have dogs? I want 2 cats. He wants a cat and a dog. It's like, you know, it's as big a gay argument as you can get, really. Who's got a dog? Alex, you have a dog?
Yeah.
What kind of dog?
Corgi, mini Australian Shepherd.
A corgi? Elizabeth Craig goes, oh, let's just stop the show and just reach over and pet the person next to us. This is so... A nice dog?
She's fine.
Well, there's a loving owner. Yeah, I really haven't seen her in about 3 weeks. I don't know. She seemed fine the last time I let her out. Saw signs of coyotes in the neighborhood. Who knows? My sister had the dog in LA, and the dog, it's a lot of work. The dog was twitching when he slept, my sister's dog, and my sister took the dog to the vet and spent $100 to hear what? What did the vet say? Dreaming. Having nightmares. That's what he told my sister. Your dog is having nightmares. That'll be $100. I'm thinking, what's a nightmare for a dog? You know, he's drinking from the toilet bowl and the lid falls on his head. I mean, he's doing comedy about politics. No one's laughing. What's a nightmare for a dog? Really. All right, we're going to keep going now with a student who is call them students, they're comedians. Piper was on Friday night, absolutely killed. She is very, very funny. You're going to love her. Please welcome Piper Davis, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Carl. Somehow the lights are brighter tonight. So, seriously, this is my 2nd time in front of a live audience. As I was getting ready to perform, I got a lot of advice from different people about, what kind of jokes to start with. But universally, people are like, start with something easy, low-hanging fruit, a topic everybody can relate to. So I was like, well, menopause. Now, to get my creative juices flowing, I thought maybe I'd Google, see what other comedians were saying. Comedians who talk about menopause. The overwhelmingly most popular YouTube video was some fucking dude. I'm just like, his bit is titled, "Menopause is worse than PMS." My question is, how the fuck does he know? But, it doesn't stop him from complaining about his wife's hot flashes, sleeplessness, memory loss, weight gain, lack of sex drive, crazy rage. And then he goes on to talk about her incontinence. And he even dares to suggest that maybe she's been a bad sport about it all. I'm like, dude, imagine sometime in your 50s, your balls shrivel up to the size of marbles, and you stop producing testosterone for the rest of your life. She's not a fucking pain in the ass. She's a hero. In fact, what most people call menopause is really perimenopause, which is the time leading up to menopause when biologically female humans might experience some of the symptoms that menopause is so famous for. But menopause itself is just one day exactly a year after your last period. Now, what comes after menopause? Postmenopause. I am a 58-year-old postmenopausal woman. And the thing is, I'm here to report it's not that bad. I mean, first of all, you're done with periods and all that perimenopausal shit, okay? Throw that away. Second, you can have all the sex you want with men and not worry about getting pregnant, a relief. And finally, postmenopausal women are awesome. You see, once you've been free from hot flashes, memory loss, weight gain, lack of sex drive, blah, 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 you have all sorts of time to stop giving a shit and just be a badass. Now, I, for one, am so relieved with all the shit she's had to put up with. Nancy Pelosi has not had to face a pregnancy scare. Now, as you can tell, I'm just not that bummed about being postmenopausal. That is, except for the painful penetrative sex. Yeah. Ask any fundamentalist. I know there are also things you can do that don't involve penetration. But for me, there's just nothing like a good fuck. So I complained to my gynecologist. She's like, oh, Piper, you're not alone. I'm gonna prescribe some estrogen cream and a dilator. I'm like, a dilator? What is that? She hands me a box. I pull out this hard plastic, dickish shaped thing. It's like 4 inches wide and 10 inches long. I'm like, oh, tell me again how a man designed this thing. And I'm just like, shit, I just have never been that squeamish about penetration, but one look at that fucking thing and I felt violated. I'm like, would a vibrator work? She kind of gives herself, like no one's ever asked her before, but the doctor's like, well, sure, you can try it, And I'm like, okay. So, on the way home, I stop in at my neighborhood women-owned sex toy boutique. It's called Shebop. Now, Shebop is not your typical dark, secret, sexy, sex toy shop. No, Shebop is flooded in natural light. It has this sort of cheery, feminist candy shop atmosphere. I walk in and I'm just like dazzled by the offerings. So my jaw drops. I'm like, there is a wall of vibrators and dildos. There's lube in every flavor you can imagine. There are harnesses and prosthetic penises and pumps for those penises. And there are toys for anal play and airflow thrusters and grinding toys for girls who like it on top. And, I'm new to this world, so I asked for some help. And the nice young woman, she's like, oh, I think for you, let's start with the oh my bod, love life cuddle. I'm like, well, hello. And it's kind of a training vibrator. It's cute, it's pink, it's soft at the touch. So I take it home, put it to use, and that thing spiced up the pandemic. Now, at some point during the pandemic, it became clear I needed something other than myself to play with. So we got a puppy. His name is Pablo. Now, Pablo is a 130-pound Akbarsh livestock guardian dog. This dog was bred to fight wolves in the Anatolian mountains of Turkey. He's there to protect the sheep. We keep him as a house pet. Now, like any good dog parents, when we first got him, we headed out to Petco and got all sorts of toys. Pablo turned his nose up at most of them, and he demonstrated that he's kind of a found object artist. He loves shoes. How he loves shoes. He loves a sweaty sports bra. It's got good action, smell. He likes to grab it and do some rrr. He really loves a down pillow. The times I have come home to find our living room looking like some kind of hen house massacre. There are feathers everywhere. Pablo innocently asleep on the bed, a few feathers stuck to his lips. But, we love him. He's a good boy. So, pandemic was really hard on my social life. See, one of my favorite things is to entertain people. I love to cook. I love to have people over for dinner. It was really hard to not have a dinner party. And when we finally could have people over for dinner, I was so happy. And so got people seated, and I'm feeling kind of smug because Pablo, who was then 6 months old, is just upstairs, and he's not bugging anybody. We hear the occasional thump, some puppy crazies, but he's just being a good boy. When all of a sudden, he comes running down the stairs. He stops at the landing, and we have an open floor plan, so everybody's seated and they can look. And there's Pablo. my, like a fucking adolescent erection, my vibrator is sticking straight out of his mouth. I say, drop it, Pablo. Which he does, because he's a good boy. Which then triggers the vibrator and it starts buzzing. He then gives it one of those curious puppy stares, like, and then picks it up and parades around the room like a cartoon dog with a roast. And that's when I notice that one of our guests has their phone out and is videoing the whole thing. And I'm like, I better not see that on Instagram. So how many of you are on Instagram? Yep. I am, at Piper Knows Food. Pablo too, at Mouthy Pablo. But lately, it's really been both impressing and freaking me the fuck out. The things it knows, that advertising is so personal and specific. Okay, it knows about the painful sex. I'm getting like one ad after another for vaginal lubricants. Posture correcting shapewear? How does it know I don't stand up straight? Did my mother call Mark Zuckerberg? It knows I'm an insomniac. It knows I drink too much. It knows I'm trying to drink less, both of which are true. But the one that really gets me, leak protection underwear. I haven't even admitted to myself that incontinence is an issue. I just change my underwear a lot. Now, lots of people are worried about mental health implications of social media. I'm worried about how the fuck it reads our minds. Speaking of mental health, has anybody ever had a therapist who overshares? I did. His name was Dino. So, in our first session, straight out of the gate, we're talking about being a fat kid, we're talking about overbearing mothers, divorce, the therapeutic power of ecstatic dance. And that was before we got to any of my shit. I told him how much I love to cook. He told me he was addicted to food. I'd walk into his office and he'd start sort of, earnestly, "So Piper, how's it going?" I'd be like, "Well," and then it wasn't long before he'd slip in, "So Piper, want to tell me about what you made for dinner last night?" And I would always rather talk about food than my feelings, so I indulged him. I'd be like, "Well, Dino, let me tell you about my lasagna. I start with a hand-made pasta. I layer fresh ricotta cheese and sauteed spinach and hot Italian sausage. Another layer of pasta, more cheese, spinach, sausage, pasta, cheese, spinach, sausage, pasta. And then I finish with a creamy bechamel." And he's like, "Oh my God, Piper, that sounds amazing." And then I noticed the bechamel on his pants, and I knew it was time to find a new therapist. Thank you. You guys have been a great audience. Piper Davis.
Piper Davis, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, funny shit, Piper. Yeah. He does know food. That is piperknowsfood.com.
Well, that's been put to bed, but there's still an Instagram.
That's been put to bed, like your therapist. Okay. But where can people find you online?
At Piper Knows Food on Instagram.
On Instagram, okay.
Pablo actually has more followers than I do.
Oh, sweet Pablo. That's great. One of the, actually it reminded me of, I always tell students that when you can produce visuals in your material, it's one of the best things you can do. That was a visual. A dog with a vibrator, right? The joke I used to illustrate with, and I wish I knew, there was some kid who opened for me in Catalina Island in 1988. I don't remember who he was. I remember he had one great line, and he had the sense to end his set with it. And it was the ultimate visual. He was a kid just out to Hollywood. He got in his first apartment, and everyone told him, get a cat, get a dog, so he got a kitten. And he goes, I got a kitten, and I didn't know anything about kittens, and all of a sudden this kitten goes into heat. And I'm like panicked, I don't know what to do. And there's no internet then, so he gets a book, and he reads in the book that when a kitten goes into heat, you're supposed to simulate sex with a Q-tip. That's not the hard part, he said. The hard part is strapping the Q-tip to your waist. That is a visual, ladies and gentlemen. And that cat married Pablo, and together, one more time for Piper Davis. Thank you. I've noticed that a lot of my students have material about getting older, which is universal. I don't worry about getting older because I have those genes that you die for. My dad will be 100 this year. Yeah. He's in a nursing home in Florida. He's doing great. I mean, I called him on January 1st. I said, Dad, you stay up to midnight for New Year's? He goes, no, we all stayed up. They had a fake countdown at 8:59, and we were all in bed by 9:01. My mom, my Republican mother, died at 96, so more good genes. I buried her with an Obama button. It was great. Oh my God. She and Obama lying next to each other for eternity. It's so nice. She inherited her Republicanism from my grandmother, who was even worse. My grandmother, I swear to God, my grandmother would talk smack, and she was born in 18-something. I don't know. She talked smack about Jews, Catholics, homosexuals, and black people. And I'm sensitive to this as a kid, so. You produce what you fear. That's my thing, because my oldest sister married a Jewish man, my next oldest sister married a Catholic, I'm gay, my youngest sister married a black man. It's so great. My grandmother has rolled over in a grave so many times she's rotated away to China, ladies and gentlemen. Which is great, because he really didn't like Asians either, so she's in a good place, I'm sure. I have one aunt left who's 95. She's a piece of work. She's so freaking annoying. She's in Indiana. She's always complaining nobody ever calls her, so I got her one of those how am I driving bumper stickers. And some of these you get on the way home. It's no pressure here. You wake up tomorrow morning and fuck, that was funny. I got to go to work, but that was hilarious. It really was. You having a good time? Who are you? Are you here to see someone special?
Callie.
Oh, Callie! Oh, Callie. Love Callie. Can't wait till Callie comes up. Callie's coming up soon, but before Callie, we have a good age range here, and it's always nice to have a youthful person in the room, someone, I think he's my youngest student I've had in 3/4. He's fantastic. Please welcome Terry Lichwager, ladies and gentlemen. Terry Lichwager. Youth, ladies and gentlemen.
I appear to be going through some kind of a transition. I've fallen 4 times in the past several weeks, and when I stood over there preparing to come up, I thought, well, the first problem is getting up on the stage. So I was going to take a rush at it, but then I saw that Carl had noticed my problem there. This is kind of interesting. I can actually see you. Well, I've done this only once before, and at a venue where you could not see. I mean, the lighting was such no possible way. And I can see you, and this is scarier. And as long as I can see you, I'm going to ask a question. Where were you in 1954-55? This is a serious question. Maybe these two in the second row. Well, see, here's the problem. I'm going to be talking about something that happened in 1954-55. Really the most serious mistake I ever made in my entire life. But you see, you weren't around in 54-55, and you're going to say, oh, come on now, it couldn't have been all like that. It was, and I wouldn't lie to you, at least not very much. Now, the other thing that's interesting is that this does look like a pretty godless group. Now that's good. That's not. Now I can assure you, I am more godless than you. If you don't believe that, you see me afterwards. The problem is that in 1954-55, I was a young Christian boy. I won the prize for memorizing the most Bible verses in Sunday school. I mean, you couldn't find them much better than I. And then I realized something, and we'll get into that in a minute. But the contrast is interesting. It will explain my actions. The only advice I have is if you are going from a God-fearing person, transitioning to a godless person, do it as early as possible. Do it as early as possible. Now, okay, on to our problem, my problem. It would be great if I had some 15-year-olds, but they'd probably arrest me for contributing to the delinquency of a minor. Now, when you get old, you kind of review your life. You can't help from, at least my wife can't help from reviewing hers. I can't help from reviewing mine. And it gets very tiresome. But anyway, you think about the things you did, and you think about the things you didn't do, and you think about the things you should have done but didn't do. And that's the area where the most regrets are. The things you should have done but didn't do. And I made my big mistake as a God-fearing young man when the year that I was 15 years old. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
It's bad. I didn't masturbate enough. I should have wanked more. A lot more. And if it's all right with you people, I'll use the word wank. It's kind of an English derivation. But it's only one syllable, and masturbate is 3 syllables. And wanker's only 2 syllables. Masturbator is 4 syllables. I probably go over time anyway, so we'll stick with the wank. The only problem is I haven't figured out if, a wank, wanking, wanker, what's a wanky? I don't know. Anyway, okay, why do I say that I didn't masturbate enough? Okay, because age 15 is the prime year for exercising the female, excuse me, boy, I'm the male sex organ to make sure it and the rest of his body reaches their full sexual and physical development. Now, how do we know this? Well, in the research that I've done on the internet, I've been up with some interesting facts. Now, I'm going to turn this way a little bit. I'll center things a little bit. Because I want to be standing up. Maybe I won't. Oh, God, I gotta go see a doctor. Now, okay. You people over here are gonna have to visualize the sun not turning around. Okay, now, yeah, the vertical. My legs are on the vertical, right? And imagine the strength of the male erection is measured in the angle of elevation from the vertical on up. Okay? Getting this over there? Now, and anyway, so for a healthy male, very healthy, that angle, I'm going to put this down for a moment. That angle is 165 degrees. More or less. I mean, you know, there's different shapes. There's some curve and some. Fortunately, I never had to worry about curves. Bill mentioned that getting a mammogram. I just want to pass it. I've never been given a mammogram. But if I do say so myself, I have great man boobs. Gynecomastia is the proper term, and Callie can verify that. She's a healthcare provider. Okay, now, where was I? Oh, it doesn't make much difference, but we'll just continue on there. We were talking about the angle and so forth. Anyway, the reason we know that 15 is the age you really have to do this, not 16, not 17, not 18, because that angle, it's only 15 degrees off the vertical. By the time you're 18, which is only 3 years, it's gone down 10 to 15 degrees. By 20, it's down to 10 degrees. 15, it's the highest there is. It's all downhill. So you really got to hit it hard. I get it. So anyway, that's why we have to, at age 15, you have to do it. Now, I didn't, because I was trying to be a good Christian boy. And if you don't do it, you have problems later on in life. And, you know, you can, actually, most of your problems that count are because of a failure to wank enough. Now, for example, myself, I hate to admit this, but it's okay. I'm 83. I'm not going to be around much longer. I don't have an 8-inch penis. Why? Because I didn't wank enough when I was 15. My mother, my brother, my father, and my sister are all taller than I. Why? Because I didn't wank enough at age 15. I've never been rich and famous. Why? I didn't wank enough at age 15. So now let's get into why. Why I didn't. Well, I was scared. Plus, you know, the mid-50s, it was not a wank positive time. It was very much a wank negative time. And God was watching. And he was one mean motherfucker. We knew he was allowing us a little leeway, and the consensus that we wankers had, and somebody asked me when I practiced, why did I say we? Well, we had a group of kids who would sit around and discuss the problem, because, you know, we wanted to get in as many wanks as possible, but without displeasing the Almighty. But anyway, the consensus was he would allow a grace of 3 winks, but at 4 winks the hammer would fall. He would smite you Now, smite is a biblical word. It occurs in the King James Version of the Old Testament 113 times. None of them are good. There's scabs and locusts and lice and hernias and, oh God, it just goes on. You're killing your firstborn, killing the ones yourself, erectile dysfunction. No, not that one. I really kind of have it in for God these days, and I accuse him of things he didn't do. But anyway, okay, so God is, was a problem. But we needed more information to plan how to do as much as we possibly could. But we needed, we thought, okay, we can safely do it 3 times a day. But is that cumulative? Or is that, or was it 3 times and with one hand and 3 times with the other hand? Now, if that was true, we had it made. 3 with one hand. 6 times a day, just about right. The morning wank, the mid-morning wank, the afternoon wank, the mid-afternoon wank, and the after-supper wank, and then the bedtime wank. Watch out for getting the covers messy. So, what happened next was, what did happen next? Okay. There was a couple of considerations. What was the rule if you started the wank with this hand? But finish it with this hand. What was the rule if you started with this hand, then switch this hand for a little bit, then back to this hand? And we needed more information. We didn't have it, but we were looking for a solution. I thought I had thought of one when the hair. I forgot to mention. The wanking penalty was hair on the palm of your hands. Very obvious. There were some people who said, well, no, he'll make you blind or make you crazy. We didn't care about that. People go crazy every day. They say, oh, Terry went crazy. Okay, well, who knows what happened? Terry went blind. Well, that happens every day to people. Who knows what happened? And Terry's got hair in his hands. They're a fucking wanker. Bad. Well, anyway. So I thought, well, all right, I'll just wank with one hand. And I'm very right-handed, so I need that hand, so I'll wank with the left hand. That means I had to learn how to wank with my left hand. It's probably like wearing a condom. It just doesn't feel right. I wore a condom once, and I'll never do that again. What was the point? But anyway, I would wank with the left hand, and then when the hair started to grow, I was just gonna put it in my pocket. But then I thought about that. Okay, I go to help somebody. And he says, Terry, pick up that box over there and bring it over here. So I go over there and I struggle with my right hand to pick it up, and he said, what the hell are you doing? Just use both hands. I only got one hand? So, Well, anyway, I did have finally a flash of inspiration, and it solved the problem for a while. The vacuum cleaner. You see, the thought was, if I used the vacuum cleaner, that my hand would not be touching my dick, and therefore, home free. The first time, though, it was a learning experience. Back then, vacuum cleaners, this was a Hoover, by the way. I started calling her Mrs. Hoover after a while. But anyway, the vacuum cleaners, the solid parts weren't plastic, like they are today. It was metal. And it was crimped at the end, so that, so it fit in there. And anyway, so I got my dick in the thing, and it was okay. I turned it on, and that was really okay. But then I went to pull out. And I didn't think about it. They make suction things for your dick these days to make your dick bigger. They make my dick a little bigger. The end of the thing was crimped. I couldn't get it out. But I finally got it out, and I have a piece of advice for you if you ever get adventurous to you boys now. And by the way, I apologize for not having experience to edit for advice for you girls. But the head of the penis, it's called the glans, G-L-A-N-S. It is really tough, and it heals quickly, very quickly. You can get blood all over the place, and it will be ready to go in a couple of days again. It's an amazing organ. Well, anyway, after that, I used lube and so forth and so on. Well, I don't know how long I've been here. I'm going to quit, but I have a proposal to help our society and maybe make wanking more acceptable. Now, take a little courage on people's parts. And maybe we can come up with a better word for the gals, but whatever. Now, what do we do when we meet somebody, how are you? Why don't we just say, wanking well? Just a question. And then there's, now we say when they're leaving, have a good trip. And say, wank well. Seems perfectly. We do that enough. It'll become part of the language. Okay, there was one last thing, which I really will. I need two hands to do it, but I don't somehow I'm going to do it with one hand. Star Trek fans. Now, I apologize to any Star Trek fan. If I can do it, is that the Spock thing?
Yeah.
Okay, now, hold on. So, you do it with both hands, and up in the air, and instead of saying, what is it, something well? Pardon? Live long and prosper. Wank well and often. Thank you.
I'm not sure I should shake your hand, but give it up for Terry, ladies and gentlemen. Terry, great stuff. Wow. Can I tell them how old you are, Terry? Can I tell how old, in case they didn't, can I tell how old you are? 83. Oh, he said he was 83? 83, ladies and gentlemen. And you know what Terry did for a living? Wank, thank you very much. The quiz portion of the show, you passed. He was a 747 pilot. So he had his hand on the controls, I'll tell you that. Terry's been just a joy in class, and he gets here first. Everything's all vacuumed by the time we get in. And it's a clean classroom with Terry. And every week, and he's been here 8 weeks, he brings his wife, Jean, who is also very funny, who is 96 years old. She's with him tonight. Give Jean a round of applause. Yeah. I was watching the couples while he was talking about wanking. It's really interesting. A lot of quizzical looks from woman to guy. Okay. Yes, okay. Napoleon, how are you? This is a great chance to mention a lot of my former students are here. Give them a round of applause. Denny, Napoleon. It's so great that they come here and support. Our next performer has been in 2 of my classes. I don't know how much coaching I give him because he's just naturally a very funny guy, a great actor as well. Please welcome Aiden Diskin, ladies and gentlemen. Aiden! Thank you, Carl. I had kind of my upbringing was a little bit of an oxymoron. I had a very progressive, white suburban upbringing. And those two don't really go hand in hand. It was the kind of upbringing, though, that while encouraging me to masturbate enough, plenty, I assure you, also kind of led me to assume that I could do anything in my life. I took that to mean from when I was about 9 to 12 that I could be the first white member of Boyz II Men. I was convinced. I'm not sure what growing up south of San Francisco allowed me to think I could relate to like Motown Philly. But I figured we'd just figure out my space in the band later. It runs in my family to go gray early. So I should not have been surprised when at 15 I found my first gray pubic hair. I was freaking out too. It was pretty traumatic. I'm like, I just got these things. Why do they look like they're just finishing their first presidential term? It also ran in my family to go bald early. So I guess what happened. But I started in my senior year of high school. I started losing my hair, and I didn't really realize it at first, but a lot of people started telling me to try Rogaine, which I was pretty concerned about the sexual side effects. I was still very much in like the rehearsal processes of what was happening there, and I wasn't ready to put up any roadblocks before opening night. Incidentally, I'd be workshopping my own solo material for years to come. I remember a time in my senior year, a friend of mine and I were on the stage in our theater with some of our girlfriends, friends who were our girls. We did musical theater. And he kind of pulled me out and turned me around and kind of faced my back to them, and he tilted my head back, and everyone just started laughing. I didn't really know what was happening. I know. What a dick, right? He's actually still one of my best friends, but I'm really excited because he's going to watch this, and now he's going to know that I told you all what he did. So I'm hoping you can help me with something. If we could all just collectively boo this person, I would be really grateful. So just 1, 2, 3, boo! Thank you. I'm a big fan of Harry Potter. I also try to be really honest with myself in my life, so there's a couple things I've had to accept. The biggest of which is that I am a Hufflepuff. It's not one of the glamour houses. And I could kind of fit anywhere. I'm a little brave, I'm kind of smart, I'm also kind of a dick. So any of those really fit. But mostly I just kind of want to be left to myself, which I think is the biggest quality of any good Hufflepuff. Seriously, think about what happened to the last outgoing Hufflepuff. Dude died in a graveyard. And I do not want to go out like that. There was a time, I feel like, when our Harry Potter house took over, like, even past religion, right? Everything was like, what's your sign and what Hogwarts house were you sorted into on Facebook, right? I swear I've gotten less shit in my life for being an atheist than for not caring about what my zodiac sign is. I had somebody come up to me once and say, don't you just wish that everyone's star sign was projected above their head so we all just knew? And I was like, no. Just because I'm not really interested in that stuff, hoping that by using the word stuff, I would be appropriately expressing my disinterest. That was not the case. They then said, well, do you mind if I ask what your star sign is? And I said, kinda. I just feel like that question is more about you than me. Which I know is rude. But I don't feel like I have any other recourse. I feel like the only other thing I can do in that situation is to tell them and watch their face as they go, oh, you are such a Leo. And it sucks because they're not wrong.
I don't know about you guys, I'm a big fan of recreational marijuana. Fucking legal weed, right? It's so much better than it used to be. I don't know if people remember, but you used to have to go to like your weird dealer's house and sit in like an odd dark room with them while they spent like 30 minutes telling you the social positives of anime and manga. And then the next 45 were like, what's their cat up to? And then you have to tip them out of your stash that you just bought from them. It never made sense to me. So it's better now. You go into like a little cool like boutique with an uncertified weed sommelier who's gonna come out and tell you all about like the woodsy notes of citrus and purple in your strain. Smoking a lot of weed does tend to like make my mind kind of wander into some odd, hard to remember places. So I've actually compiled a list of observations that I've titled Things I Think About When I'm High. Guacamole is just baby food for adults, right? If you accidentally inhale a cough drop, for a very short time, it has the opposite of its intended effect. Tinfoil was kind of like duct tape before duct tape, right? It had all these uses. It could fix your TV antenna, it could protect you from aliens, it could also blow up your microwave. I don't think the Gilmore Girls are good people. Love that there's applause for how fucking terrible those women are to everyone in their life. Great. If you think about it, everything is kind of scratch and sniff, right? Microphone. My mustache. Those are my balls. Yeah. Incidentally, I think it's really weird that we kind of blame the balls for like everything that happens negatively down there, and it's just kind of like cute. Like if I stood up here and talked to you about how my dick smelled, you'd all be like, ew, gross, right? The face you just made is exactly what I'm talking about. And that's exactly why we blame it on the balls. Yeah. Makes us all feel better. It's always confused me why Mr. Pibb just never went back and got his medical license. I honestly wonder what soda we'd be drinking today. Page 2. Do you think anyone's ever like accidentally bought their clothes back from Goodwill after a recent donation? Maybe it's just me because I smoke a lot of weed, but I feel like I've been there before and been like, I really like that shirt. I really love bumper stickers. I don't know about you guys. I'm a huge fan of bumper stickers. The thing I love about them is that they immediately point out to me a bunch of people I never want to meet. The like family minivan sticker too, right? And they got like 5 little stick figures on the back. I feel like that's just an apology to the world for owning a minivan. They're like, I'm sorry, we have like this many. Serious question, guys. Does anybody else have a spider living in their dashboard? Something else I love watching sports. I love the NBA in particular. One of the things I love mainly about it is the broadcasters' completely unaware use of super sexual language. It makes me laugh every time. I was watching a game the other day, and this is a direct quote. They're getting deep penetration inside and great opportunities near the rim. Before they spray it to the outside for the finish. So it's just interesting to like think about how NBA broadcasters and the production team for a porno are using basically the same language. And just as an important note for now and for the rest of the set, I do smoke a lot of weed, so my whole set is really things I think about while I'm high. Believe it or not, based on everything I've told you so far, I do feel like I've matured over the years. As I've gotten older, there's a couple things I've noticed. One is that I always use the oven when I'm cooking frozen food now. Kind of makes you feel like you've planned it. You gotta wait that 40 minutes or so. Yeah, the microwave is a young man's game. I'm not with that anymore. One of the big differences I think that we all have with, or problems that we all have with the differences between young and older people is voting, right? Young people don't vote enough. I just want to let you all know that as soon as I could, I've been voting. I've voted for every NBA All-Star game. I've voted for every new chip flavor that's come out. I did vote nationally once, but I kind of ended up feeling like my vote didn't matter. I voted for Justin Guarini to win the first season of American Idol. We all know how that turned out. But I posit this to you. Go back and watch From Justin to Kelly, their movie they made together, and you tell me he is not a fucking star. I've learned a lot in this comedy class. I think we've all learned a lot while we've been taking these classes. One of the things I never expected to learn was how poppers work. I learned it from Nick. He's on in a bit. But I learned that poppers are previously VHS fluid, that is VHS cleaning fluid that is now used as a stimulant for anal sex, right? Yeah, I don't want to diminish it. I just want to make sure I'm giving the right description. I also found out from Nick that they have flavors. So I asked Nick, what's your favorite flavor? And he said rose gold.
Hell yeah.
And I got really excited. But then I realized I misheard him. I thought he said rolled gold, and I really like pretzels. But I have since discovered I do have a favorite flavor of popper. It's jalapeno. If you're like me and you grew up in the 90s, you probably received a really skewed perspective on romance from boy bands. Right? NSYNC, one of the main culprits for me, had song titles like Drive Myself Crazy and I'll Never Stop, which lyrically were just instruction manuals for future stalkers. And I maintain led to people like Clay Aiken writing lyrics like, if I was invisible, I would just watch you in your room. Legitimate lyric that we were all just like, he's so cute. I love him. But the Backstreet Boys for me were the worst with delusional lyrics. They had this song, As Long As You Love Me. The music video was so good. It had like mic stand choreography and all this chair dancing and stuff. Oh, and they had that thing when they like put a bunch of wind in your shirt. It was filmed in an industrial warehouse, so we all know the main thing about that is the wind coming through. But this song posited, doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, what you've done, as long as you love me. Which is some needy, codependent shit. There's a lyric in there, it doesn't really matter if you're on the run. Which I feel like is an unstable way to start a relationship. So yeah, I think they just skipped over some red flags, so I've kind of taken it upon myself to come up with some of my own, yeah? Are there circumstances around your last partner's death? I just feel like you're going to be a little busy. There's a police investigation, the trial, and then your impending Netflix deal that I just don't really want to be a part of. Do you believe the earth is flat and you love Kanye West? I think you should keep that to yourself. Or Are you rude to service people because that's their job? That one's really tough because, like, we're in Portland, I know. I feel like I walk by a coffee shop and I leave like a 5% contact tip. Because I'm a good person. So you love me, but you quote the upsides of Mein Kampf. I don't think we're meant to be. They had one other really popular, really delusional song. You guys remember Backstreet's Back?
Yeah.
Everybody, yeah. In the chorus of that song, they posit 3 very dumb questions that they give themselves very easy answers to. And I'm here to give you the right answer. Am I original? No. Am I the only one? There are 5 of you. Am I sexual? Everyone has some kind of relationship to sexuality, so yes. In that regard, yes, you are Nick Carter. And the last thing I want to say is, there is one boy band who has been honest, true, and never lied to any of us. But Boys to Men, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, amen. Keep it going. Yeah. Fun night, huh? Don't ask a question unless you really want the answer. How about a hand for everybody on the show so far? We have 3 more performers. Nick was referenced. Has anyone seen Nick before? Nick Alderson? Yeah, he's going to do a straight act tonight. Nick got through on the first round of Portland's Funniest Person contest. Last Sunday on this very stage, we had standing room only. We had an LGBTQ plus comedy night and sold out, lines around the block. Very happy about that. And I think it's important to be visible. Pride is about a lot of things, including visibility. I think there are a lot of gay people in history that a lot of people don't know about. John Maynard Keynes, who invented modern economics, was gay. Also, Alan Turing, who invented the modern computer, and George Santos, who invented everything, really. I think there are also people who are probably gay in history that we probably, or certainly will never know if they were. I'm thinking maybe Marco Polo had to be gay, right? I mean, late 13th century, Mongols have sacked Europe, Crusaders have sacked cities in the Middle East. He's off looking for silks and spices, ladies and gentlemen. Good for him. I mean, the year 1271, if you're gay, you just want a comfy caftan and a little nutmeg, really? That's all you want. My husband Gary and I we'll be celebrating our 26th anniversary in December. I have to tell you, there's, from what I understand, gay marriage is like a straight marriage. I'm telling you, up to 20, the most common thing you hear at our house is, "I'm downstairs, I can't hear you." That's it. We both, Gary works at home, I'm at home all day, and it's like, I said to him a couple weeks ago, I said, am I bothering you? He says, now or in general? He's very funny. I said to him a few months ago, I said, that's really funny, you should take my class. He goes, oh, I've taken that class. Yeah, he's great, we're very happy. I'm from New Jersey, he's from South Dakota. We talked about mob hits when we were in high school. He did cow tipping, so his high school mascot, I swear to God, in South Dakota, the Irrigators. Not lying. Great halftime cheer. I actually love people from the Midwest. There's something about every guy I was ever attracted to from the Midwest, something down home, wholesome about them. I don't know, maybe it's just in my head. And Vince is coming on. He's from Chicago, and our next performer is also from the Midwest, and I love her dearly. I ask my students, if you're going to start stand-up, it's best to talk about what you know, to talk about your life and your journey, and take the audience on your journey. And all my students have done that so well, and Callie's a perfect example. I love her. Callie Peters, ladies and gentlemen.
I can't do shit. My name's Callie Peters. I'm a physician assistant, and my favorite band is Tool, and that's my entire personality. I'm a recovering people pleaser, and my husband wanted to marry someone funny, so I took this class. I also wanted to take this moment after taking this class to put a little blurb out about what a PA is. So we study medicine, and we're not a nurse or a nurse practitioner, but we do practice medicine, sometimes independently, sometimes with the combination of a physician. Particularly in my role, I work at the hospital. And what I realize is that most of the time I'm just convincing them that my idea was their idea. But, I hear a lot of patient stories, and they're all really touching, and I just want you guys to know mine. I really am a recovering people pleaser. I was in a domestically violent relationship with my high school sweetheart for almost 8 years. By no means am I domesticated, but now I'm my husband's current cash cow. When I graduated college in 2013, my ex-boyfriend and I, we went on a trip around the world. We started in Thailand and ended in Europe. I learned how to scuba dive from a novice to a dive master trainee. It was super awesome, except for the asshole I was with. And he strangled me in the bungalow in Thailand, and I remember being strangled, and I remember losing consciousness, and then I remember he woke me up by slapping me. And by the end of that trip, he had destroyed my laptop, my cell phone, my credit card, and then when we were in Germany, he tried to rip up my passport, which probably would have been a godsend. I know, right? Terrible. So I left on June 17th, 2014, like a Lifetime movie where you pack your shit up in a trailer and you take off, and I got an apartment in secret, and I had been working for a while. And after some time, I thought, well, I should probably move from Joplin, Missouri, which is in the southwest corner of Missouri. We're known for a tornado that came through in 2011, which I survived, and a Bonnie and Clyde shootout. And then I moved to Coos Bay, Oregon, and moved in with my grandpa and took care of him until he passed away. RIP. I worked as a medical assistant and got my pre-PA experience, which is a requirement before you go to PA school. And I also met my husband, Bobby. We have been together almost 8 years, and we've been married for almost 3. He's pretty great. For our first wedding anniversary, ironically, he bought me a money tree. It's supposed to signify like good luck and good vibes for the marriage. Throughout the years, we've like kind of passed off who's responsible for it, and it was my turn to take care of it, and it started fucking losing leaves. So I'm like, like Kermit, that gif where he's just like typing away. I'm just like furiously searching online what's wrong with my money tree, and also in the other tab looking up divorce lawyers in case it dies. I decided that it probably had root rot. So you treat root rot by taking all of the soil out and cutting all the tips of the roots off. And I'm a pretty philosophical person, and so I started thinking that ever since I left my high school sweetheart, I've really been digging out all the root rot in the foundation of my life. You know, I became a PA because I thought, well, I wanted to help people. I used to like run around and take my mom's temperature when she was sick when I was 5. I really wanted to become a PA to help people and take care of them, and I thought that by accomplishing that, I would fill this void in my heart. I became really depressed throughout PA school, and you know, that was really challenging and rigorous curriculum. And then I went on clinical rotations where I was traveling every 6 weeks to new places and meeting new people. Then the pandemic happened, and my education was on a halt, and you know, that threw everyone, and then we just had a lot going on socially and politically. I started out in neurosurgery and then transitioned into pulmonary and critical care medicine. And when you think of pulmonary medicine, you think of like asthma, COPD, also a lot of end-stage lung disease, a lot of death. And when you think of critical care, you also think of death because it's like tubes and ventilators and medications that are keeping you alive. I equated how well I could help someone with basically how valuable I was as a provider, which is clearly not okay. And I remember one of my colleagues, who was probably supposed to be here tonight, but usually doctors aren't here when you really need them to be. Just kidding. And he asked me if I wanted a Starbucks, and so I said yeah, and I ordered like a whatever. And I said, I'll Venmo you the money. And he said, if you do that, I'll kill you. And I said, please. Didn't go over very well. I talk to my mom almost every day on my way home from work. Like all moms, she's a little crazy. And I had a thought, this was probably May of 2022. I thought, what would happen if I just drove into this median and it would like be over? Of course, I didn't do it, and I didn't have any plans, and that really worried her. And I think the most important thing that I've learned about this job is facing mortality. You know, I'm telling like 38-year-old men who have metastatic cancer that they're going to have to say bye to their family. I'm guiding grandchildren through their grandparents' death. And I'm doing it with a team of nurses and respiratory therapists and other colleagues, and even though I'm talking a bunch of shit about physicians, them too. I honestly felt like when I started this job that when I would go into a room, it would be like, hey, I'm Kelly, I'm a PA. Yeah, there's just really nothing more I can do for you. For a long time, I've been in a women's group since September of 2020. She's here tonight, my life coach. She's really awesome. What I didn't realize at the time that I was basically practicing kind of somatic therapy. It's aligning your mind and your body and using movement to process trauma and journaling and just really figuring out the stories that you tell yourself that shape how you view life. And I realized that I was rediscovering my intuition. Not like when you're 8 years old and you watch the movie Scream and when you're done watching it, like something's gonna come out behind the corner and kill you. Like real intuition. Like the intuition that led me to take this class. So when I was finally had the realization that I was pretty depressed, I did something about it, and I met a new friend. Her name is Lexi. It's Lexapro. It's really one hell of a drug. Before all that, though, we had Roe v. Wade turned over last summer, and that really fucked me up because it was very triggering, given my history that I shared with you, that someone could have control over something that's so personal. Also, particularly as a healthcare provider and as someone who identifies as a woman, bodily autonomy is really important to me. And you know, they encouraged us not to talk about this stuff at work, but I just felt like I needed to, and one of my colleagues told me, just don't think about it. You live in Oregon. Okay. So, as I was fixing this money tree and thinking and reflecting on my life and reflecting on what's going on, I thought about when I was a little girl. I know I'm probably one of the youngest ones here. I was in 5th grade when 9/11 happened. And I was changing out between my classes because we were all getting ready for like middle school and you change out classes. So it was between my science and English class, and it was on those big screen TVs that were still really popular, that like really wide in the 2000s on the carts. And I remember in my English class over the last couple of weeks actually being indoctrinated with Islamophobia and everything that the GOP and George Bush said so we could start a war in the Middle East. And I really got to thinking the things that they were worried about were like women losing rights, total control over their citizens, a lot of nationalism, even though in the US we were flying all of these American flags everywhere and breeding this ground of Islamophobia and war. And so fast forward to 2016, I really didn't get it when women were like having protests with vaginas on their heads. And now I get it because we're banning books. Right-wing nationalism based in Christianity is starting to take over mainstream politics. Women in some states can't get abortions, and even though they hearkened it to state rights, there was a judge in Texas that recently ruled that the abortion pill could no longer be used for abortions, which currently that's on the back burner. That's not states' rights. And I just want to ask you guys, when will it matter to you? When your women can't go to work anymore? When your women can't get the medications that they need? If you feel really uncomfortable after me being on stage, good. Because the roots are rotten.
Callie Peters, ladies and gentlemen, keep going. I love it. Keep it going, Callie. You know, I guess about 4 weeks ago, our classes are 7 to 9 on Mondays, 7 to 9 on Thursdays, and sometimes we go to 9:15 or 9:20. And about 4 weeks ago, I went home, and I got teared up in my car, and I walked in the house, and I go, you know, I love every one of my students. And I heard, what? I'm upstairs, I can't hear you. Keep it going for Callie. I love it. Oh, and her husband's hot. I just said. Need another cash cow, do you? There's just so many udders. Happy Pride. Love wins, doesn't it, Dave? All right. My moment of truth. All right. Gary's in Seattle. What the fuck? We have two more acts, and they're just so wonderful. And I just can't say enough about everybody on the show, including our next performer, who is originally from Chicago, just original, great. He is himself. You'll love him. Vince Kiffa, ladies and gentlemen. Vince.
Hallo, guten Abend, ich bin Vince Kiffa. Wo sind meine Grasrocker? Grasrocker, wo sind ich dich holen? I was getting high practicing German backstage, sorry. I'll let you know a little secret of what I just said. My name is Vince Kiffa, which is German slang for Vince smokes weed. I smoke weed every day. Where are my weed smokers at? Eaters too, you count. Enjoy your cotton mouth. I used to smoke a ton of weed, but now I just smoke a lot of weed. Like, I used to smoke so much weed that everybody that didn't just clap, I could send them to the emergency room by contact high. Now I would just give them a panic attack. Like, a lot of my friends used to ask, Vince, how do you smoke so much weed and still function? Easy, practice. You're not trying hard enough. Like, I used to get like so high. Like, you've ever been so high that you just like start staring into the abyss? And all of a sudden the abyss starts staring back into you? And you go, oh crap, how do you spell abyss? I miss those days. The other day I was driving past a Red Robin Gourmet Burgers and Brews. But some of the lights were out, so it just said Red Robin Gourmet Urges. Which is the working title of my autobiography. That I'm not writing. But I do love eating food. When you eat for pleasure, like, it's the full body experience. It's the only way you feel joy. And so I've been chasing that dragon for most of my life. And I've been fortunate enough to go to lots of fine dining restaurants, get really exotic ingredients, Kobe beef with a foie gras on top, all that fun stuff. But when you eat for pleasure, sometimes you just take whatever you can get, and it's just like a bunch of junk. Like, I've had food that's to die for, but most of what I eat is to diarrhea for. Yeah, that joke should be right. I just found out that I have a mullet. I'm kidding. I'm aware I have a mullet. You know, it's a funny story how I got this mullet. You see, about a little over a year ago, when my cat died, oh, did you think I meant ha-ha funny? So I'm mourning my miniature panther, and
Rip Toki.
Rip. And I was watching lots of YouTube, and I came across a video for this band, an electronicore band from Germany called Electric Callboy. And if you knew me at that time, you probably hate that band. Because when I watched that video, I started going in there being like, I'm gonna talk shit on this, these guys are wacky. It was this song, Hypa Hypa, and they all had mullets. There was 80 vibes, and I went from a pop song to a metal song in 10 seconds. And at the end of that 3.5 minutes, I had pre-ordered the album. I had followed them on Instagram. I had all of them saved on Spotify. And I had this mullet. Because when German rapper Finch Social did a song with them, it looked really good on him. And it's a European mullet, if you can't tell. And a lot of people a lot of people wonder what's the difference between an American mullet and a European mullet. Well, an American mullet's business in the front, party in the back, sometimes racist. And in a European mullet's party in the front, party in the back, party everywhere! When I do a hair flip somewhere in this world, a DJ's dropping the bass. You like rave music? You're welcome. And like diving into German music, you learn a lot about German culture. And I learned Germans are actually funny. Most people don't think that. But see, German humor is really tongue-in-cheek. Like butt cheeks. The humor is dry, but they are wet and ready to go. Also, Germans eat a lot more than just sausage and pretzels. Like, they like vegetables too. They eat salad. There's a Gurkensalat, which is just sliced cucumbers tossed in a seasoned vinegar. The classic German potato salad, which is vinegar-based instead of mayo-based, like an American potato salad. And ass. That's the third most popular salad. The only thing standing between a German and tossing some salad is a Kleid or a Lederhosen, just trying to go up or down. These are my Deutsch bags out there. They're all just like, Ich will deine Arsch! Just German for I want your ass. I'd like to give back, I donated my mattress. I donated my mattress to a retirement home. I donated my memory foam mattress to the dementia clinic in a retirement home. I hope it's doing well. And when I was there, I got an idea for a side hustle. I'm gonna start a talent agency that exclusively represents the elderly called cataractors. So when I was at the bank waiting for my business loan, I was looking out the window, just trying to pass the time, and do you think plants get horny? Like, do you think they're just like stretching their roots to their nearest neighbor, trying to play like a little plant footsie? Rootsy? Just waving across the street like, I love your fade, you've got nice branches. But they definitely get horny. Like we all have a name for horny plant season. It's allergy season. You walk outside, everything's covered in like a green-yellow schmegma. And there's a few ways plants come. One of the easy ways is the wind. Like, man, if the wind made me come, I wouldn't get anything done. And then there's like birds brushing up against them, or the plant's best friend, bees. Like, do you think bees are like plant vibrators? Just like getting all up in the pistil and just like... Whoa! I mean, they really are heroes, bees. Like, Like, you think your job is hard? Try spending all day getting plants pregnant and making them come. And then you go home, live with your mom and your 900 siblings. One of your older sisters is busting your chops about not puking enough wax into your younger siblings. And you got dreams and aspirations of going and starting your own colony, but you overbooked almond pollination this summer. The granola's gotta have their almond milk lattes, you know? Hey, do you think if bees ever go extinct, flowers will learn how to kiss? Keeps me up at night. You know, I would never send an unsolicited dick pic to somebody. Hell, I don't even like sending a solicited dick pic to somebody. But I am a people pleaser. The one thing I will do, unabashedly though, is send a picture of an animal I think best represents my dick. But like, you can't cheat. Like, don't send a great white shark when you got a minnow, you know, swimming around your pants. You gotta own it. So if I ever send you a picture of a pufferfish, I'm a grower, not a shower. I'm glad dinosaurs are extinct. Like, you know somebody would be like just selling those as pets. And like, people can't even pick up their dog's dookie bombs. You think they're gonna pick up Stegosaurus shit? You're like walking out, trying to get your mail in the morning, you trip. John from next door's Triceratops just dropped a dump and he just walked away. Like, you can't dry clean that out. I liked those shoes. You're right, too weird, too gross, too weird. How can it be more relatable? Have you ever been shitting? Like you're in the bathroom and you're shitting, like just sitting there. And it's early or it's late. I don't know, depends who you ask. And you're shitting. You have a movement going on. Your bowels are moving. Because you're shitting and you're sitting there and about a third of the way through your shitting and you're thinking to yourself, hell yeah. Ooh, I'm shitting. And all of a sudden, you hear noise from outside. And all of the shit just goes, closed for business. We're no longer shitting. Fight or flight. So you stand up, you wipe your ass, because seconds ago you were shitting. Damn, you were on a roll. You flush. Your heart's racing. You go to the door. Man, it smells in here. You open the door. And it's just your cat. And you're like looking down at its cute furry face with its stupid vertical eyes. And you're like, damn it, kitty! You scared the shit into me! Dr. Sean, guten Nacht. Ich bin den Silber, liebe dich.
Vince Kipper, ladies and gentlemen, somehow. And there go the Kipettes, ladies and gentlemen. Keep it going for Vince. He's back. His new line of fashion will debut in October in Paris. It's one of my favorite outfits.
It's in Ukraine.
It's from Ukraine.
100% handmade in Ukraine. Got it January last year. Great time.
Give it up. Handmade in Ukraine.
They're still going. They're still going.
I have no fucking clue if he's telling the truth or not, which is it's a great comic. So your diet's working for you?
The weed diet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember stuff now.
Yeah. Like your part's over. No, I'm just kidding. I can watch you all night, really. The best thing I did, I gave up fast food about 3 years ago. That was a good thing. Give up fast food. It's just awful. I remember the last time, 3 years ago, I was in Burger King. I ordered a burger. The woman behind the counter gave me the burger. Then she said to me, "Would you like to contribute to cancer research?" So I gave her back the burger. So you're in for a treat, as you've been. I think everyone is spectacular, and Nick is a good person to close the show. It's Pride Week. It's I don't know why. I think he might be gay. It's just a feeling I have. But he's been knocking them dead, not just in the class. He just came in naturally funny, but he's knocking them dead all over Portland, and I'm sure way beyond in his career. Please welcome Nick Altishan, ladies and gentlemen. Nick Altishan.
I am gay. And that's why this microphone feels kind of small. Just saying. I wouldn't need any lube, just spit. Anyway. I actually have been made aware that there are a few straight people here tonight. Gross. No, I love straight people. Welcome. Happy Toyota-thon, I think? I don't know. I don't know your culture. No, what I love most about straight people is they always ask me why I'm single, and it's a compliment. They're always just like, "You're so handsome. How are you single?" And that's cute because straight people have never seen an attractive person before. They just don't know what they look like. I'm so sorry. Gay people are so much more attractive. No, like, I'm hot to straight people, but I am funny to gay people. Like, straight women are like, "I love your eyelashes and you have big arms." And gay guys are like, "You're a hoot." And I'm just like, I'm also naked, but thank you for the feedback. So we have had some coming out stories. Carl shared some coming out stories tonight. I also have been through a lot as a young gay person. For instance, my parents were too supportive. They were so supportive that they just rounded back to being accidentally homophobic. For instance, I don't know how to ride a bike. And I grew up on a hill. My parents tried teaching me a lot, but you could describe me as a pain-sensitive child. So I'd fall down, instantly start crying, and then after enough times they were like, "Maybe he doesn't need to know. We don't want our baby boy to be hurt." Guess what the #1 suggestion is for a second date with gay people in Portland? I don't know how to ride a bike. Some other instances where their support and unconditional love really got in the way was when I came out. When I came out, I was like, "Mom, Dad, I'm gay." And they responded with like, "Honey, we know, and we love you." And I responded with, "Okay, wow, you're just like really stepping on my moment." Just, can we focus back up, okay? Another weird time of them just not being allies, I guess, was they have me over for dinner a lot. I'm a good Italian son. They always make me lasagna, really dairy heavy, which they don't understand why that's a big deal, but I'm trying to get fucked later, so it's a problem. Side note, my parents have seen my act, and the one thing my mother said was, "Why all the dairy jokes?" And I explained that to her. It was a special moment. But I eat their food, because I'm a good person. And then they're like, don't you want seconds? Take some to go with you. And I'm like, I have to spend next weekend wearing the smallest bathing suit anyone could fit into. And then they asked me a really homophobic question. But isn't it only February? Like, that matters, okay? Going to Vegas, playing kickball, and meeting people I don't remember their names in the hotel room. Another thing that they like to do is, because they're such supportive people, I guess, they'll see me post pictures of guys on Instagram, like me with a guy, and they'll be like, oh my god, are you guys dating? And it's like, no, that's one of my best friends. We have not had sex in like 2 months. And then when it is someone I'm dating, they're like, I'm like, Mom, Dad, that is someone I'm dating. They're like, how did you meet? Do not, this is Pride Month, this is educational. Do not ask a gay person how they met another gay person unless you want the worst version of that answer. Because I could say, well, we signed up for the same pottery class. Or I could say, I was standing in line at a club. A mutual friend introduced me to him. I didn't hear his name. I think it was Kyle. He said something, again, couldn't hear because of the bass. I just laughed. He thought that meant I was interested. So he takes me out to the dance floor and 10 minutes later he's fingering me. Because love wins. So I started working out a few years ago because I don't respect myself. And also, I really needed the air conditioning. I was living in LA during a heat wave. My house didn't have it, the gym did, so I would get there, and it was just me walking on the treadmill with crippling insecurity and that sweet, sweet AC. Oddly enough, in LA, I was only working out around straight Instagram influencers. I didn't start working out around gay people until I got back to Portland, which I don't recommend. I just don't want to have to worry about douching for the gym. I'm out of ideas on how to make cute crop tops. Like, I've just run out of full-length shirts. I showed up at the gym once wearing a full-length shirt, just a regular shirt, and the person at the front desk asked me if I was doing okay. I wasn't, but that is besides the point. The next step on my fitness journey is I went to Barry's boot camp for the first time as a guest. Has anyone been? It's like this class-based fitness cult. It's essentially if Orange Theory were allowed to use the F slur. It's like if, It's like if CrossFit listened to Wicked in the shower, you know? Just little fitness with a little extra spring in that step. By gay people, for gay people. And you can tell it's for gay people a few different ways. One, it is decorated like a German sex bathhouse. Two, it's just staffed with people named Ace and Gavin and the occasional lesbian Lori. She spells it with an O, you guys. Three, their cafe is dairy-free, so it's bottom-friendly. I had to explain to my mother why that was important. And four, if you're ever wondering, is this a gay space? Just look around. Because Barry's boot camp is just filled with excited white women. And the occasional boyfriend or husband who is dragged there. Trying to be real supportive, looking real scared. So what does a German sex bathhouse look like? Thank you, my God. I've been meaning to tell you. Imagine a dimly lit spa mixed with a laser tag facility. You know, just a black room, red lighting, obstacles everywhere. Pop techno music is blaring while Gavin is on the microphone screaming at you to give him 1 more half mile per hour. And it's like, babe, you're standing 10 feet away. Turn down the music and just talk. Use your I statements. Anyway, fucked Gavin. In my defense, I don't respect myself. It was during the last Portland heat wave, and I really needed the air conditioning. So I feel like you've learned some stuff about me so far. It was apparently very obvious that I was gay. I don't respect myself, and I feel like I've given the impression that I might be a slut, which, you know. Anyway. I think you could really distill my origin story down to I was raised Catholic and Jesus is hot. All Jesus, by the way. All versions of Jesus. Ken doll Jesus, surfer Jesus, historically accurate black Jesus, all fuckable. Unfortunately, when you grow up idolizing Jesus Christ because you're just into him, it does teach you to fall for manipulative men. Have you ever celebrated Easter? That's a real fuckboy holiday. I don't think it counts if he came back. That's not a sacrifice, that's a staycation. Jesus napped for our sins. He's basically a top who ghosts you for 3 days, texts you up cutie at the end of it, and expects a holiday for himself. And he knew he was coming back. Like God told him so. It's basically you're on a date, a guy makes a whole grand gesture about paying for it, meanwhile he's getting the miles on his Alaska credit card for his next trip to Palm Springs. It doesn't count. And there I am, 8, 9 years old, sitting in church on Sunday, looking up at Jesus Christ. Crown of thorns, holes in the hands, huge chest, and just cunt gutter abs. And I'm just like, he did that for me. Love wins, happy pride, y'all.
Nick Wolfson, ladies and gentlemen. Nick! Come on. Nick wasn't going to tell you, but I'm going to actually break the news. He just got a huge contract opening for Ron DeSantis all over the country. Nick Wolfson, ladies and gentlemen. My favorite class was when Piper baked her great lasagna for Nick. It was a wonderful night. All right. Well, you've been a wonderful crowd, and I just a couple things before you go. If you're interested in taking the class, it's portlandcomedy.com is the website. In fact, there are all kinds of classes here. Many of you have been in the improv class. Patrick and Ruth and the whole staff are doing an amazing job. Just remember, it's with the world the way it is, laughter is the ticket. Just remember that. And I would love to have any of you in my classes in the future, portland.comedy.com. And I'd like to go through our roster, and before you leave, have a round of applause for everyone. Bill DiStefano, ladies and gentlemen, give Bill a round of applause from New Jersey! Come on up on stage, everybody. From my New Jersey, Piper Davis, ladies and gentlemen. Come on up, Piper. Keep it going for my kids, Piper Davis. Carrie Litzwager, remembering what it was like to be 15, ladies and gentlemen. 15 years old, 3 times left hand, 3 times right hand. Aiden Diskin, ladies and gentlemen. Aiden Diskin. Callie Peters, ladies and gentlemen. Callie Peters. Vince Kippa, ladies and gentlemen. Vince Kippa and Nick Alderson. Give them a big round of applause. We do this as a tradition, and it doesn't have to be very long, but if anyone has any questions for our comics tonight, who were absolutely fabulous, about their comedy, about the class, about the experience, I'm going to give the mic to Nick, and anyone just shout out your questions, and here you go.
Why am I surprised that this crowd has no questions? Anybody?
Yes.
You're a student, I thought you were a professional.
Oh, thank you.
He is a professional now.
That's
He's
a
actually
statement
getting
or a
paid for
question?
gigs.
Do you guys feel like you help each other workshop your jokes in meaningful ways?
Yes,
So, absolutely.
everybody was really smart and good in class.
Yeah, we get feedback at the end. We'll do like a practice, like we, stand in the room, we'll do it for everyone, then we stop and talk about it and say, like this when you did this kind of was off. That offended me.
Sorry.
I'm just jealous I no longer can have a mom.
So Nick and Aiden, we took the beginner class together. What's different about doing it the next round?
Intermediate.
The intermediate.
You're funnier. Do you have a distilled?
What he said.
It's kind of like just the.
Funniest thing.
Carl says this in class a lot. Like the best learning tool is just stage time,
Coming out here and doing it.
and it's just getting up in front of people and doing your material and doing the work. And the intermediate class is a continuation of that with a lot more. How do I say this? It is a little less lovey-dovey. Because
I'm sorry.
you're not necessarily getting over like stage fright at that point, or like any hang-ups that people might have, and so it does get to be like.
And I think you get like, it's like a little harder to make you laugh, the more you do it, so we'll be in our classroom, those of us who are in like the beginning class together, and then we just, we'll get to the feedback and people are like, that was really funny, and I was like, but nobody laughed. So we're all kind of like more like analytical, we're like, how could that joke about your butthole be better?
Actually, the introductory class is 3 times with each hand. The intermediate class is 4 times with each hand.
My first little joke there, where shock value, it always gets a big laugh the first time you hear it. That was one where I said, I didn't masturbate enough. And of course, in the practice, first time, everybody laughs. Second time, the laughs are nice. Third time, oh.
We're just distracted because by that point we're thinking about you masturbating.
The second time with Terry, I actually found out he's actually 36 years old. So. It really is all an act, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead.
You should always wear a mullet because your hair is too pretty to cut off.
Thank you. My friend Cassie agrees.
Another statement, not a question.
I need this!
I didn't even know what a mullet was until.
What exactly were you thinking when you said, sure, you can bring your 15-year-old son?
I was thinking it would be good for him, Steph. I was thinking it's time to.
Thanks.
She asked me whether or not that was kid appropriate. And I said, well, there will be some conversation
Well, there
about
was a
it.
lot of Jesus talk. It was
This was my clean material.
I wasn't worried about you. I was worried about Mr. Masturbation.
There's nothing but positive lessons we can learn from that. Is your 15-year-old still here?
No, he was never here.
Oh, okay. Just tell him,
I'm gonna go.
keep up the masturbation.
Let him watch that routine and
I'm
he'll
just
become
imagining
someone.
at 15 what he's doing right now.
I have the footnotes if you want to give it to him.
Oh my God, Arkansas Nick is here. Hi. I've been meaning to email you to get kombucha.
Nick Dudley was in my introductory class and also the intermediate class. He's straight Nick, gay Nick. I want to do a tour called Nick's at Night. And actually, Nick was very influential because on his showcase, he did 32 minutes. And we instituted the Nick Dudley rule of 10 minutes tops. Thank you, Nick. Nick is really funny. He'll be in my advanced class in the summer as well as, well, how many taking the advanced class? There's some people here.
Can you
yeah.
believe it gets more advanced?
Yeah.
Is that the same as the intermediate class?
Pardon me?
Is that the same as the intermediate class?
No, advanced is like 10 wanks with each hand. It's unbelievable. It's like, bring your Hoover. Any other questions? I'm sorry, we've been a long time, but I just want to say it's just really an honor, and it is a collaborative. It ends up being like a writer's group. I think there's no substitute for stage time. People get up, they do their bit. We all critique it and get a lot of lines and support. It is very supportive, very affirming, and it is, all my students, all 6 classes I have are just so supportive of everybody else. That's the basic ground rule. And the one rule I do have is just have fun, because if you have fun, the audience will have fun. I think they proved it tonight. Give them another round of applause. Thank you. You guys did great. PortlandComedy.com. Thank you.
Oh, my goodness.